Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to discuss why people who don't play Dungeons and Dragons don't play Dungeons and Dragons. And I want to look at it through the lens of public transit. So I watched a fantastic video that talked about why it was done by a Canadian, and she's a public transit. Actually, I'm pretty sure she's just an environmentalist, right? And so, if you're an environmentalist, generally you like public. Well, if you're an environmentalist, I can answer 50 questions about you, right? Like there's a whole bunch of things that just line up. Like box environmentalist, 15 things apply to you, and the rate is like 95%, right? And so she likes public transit. Not I don't think because she likes public transit. She likes it because she's an environmentalist, right? So, but she did a fantastic video, and she got two friends, and then they lived in Vancouver, and they went to Ottawa, so that none of them had a hometown advantage. And then one of them walked. They scouted a destination. They're going to say we're going to go from here to here. One of them walked. One of them drove a car, and one of them used public transit. And then they discussed why don't people, and this was all done to answer the question, why don't people use public transit, right? And there is a very distinct reason, and they found it. They figured it out, and they discussed it, and they named it plainly in the video. The reason people don't use public transit are the following. Okay, one, navigation. Can they get from point A to point B? Are the maps clear? Are the instructions clear? Are they going to be able to actually navigate getting on a bus, getting on a train? Let's just use subway. Getting on the subway and then getting off at the right place, right? And if there's a transition, during that, are going to be able to navigate the transition. Also, how do they pay, right? So when they go to pay, do they have what they need to pay? Does it only take cash or does it not take cash, right? Do they need to buy some kind of Metro card or, whatever the name is up there? And is it clear how to pay, right? And then last, if they miss a stop, what happens then, right? So what they found was everything I just missed stops, navigation, and payment are abysmal. And what is wild is public transit is not failing on its infrastructure, right? So basically, they spend billions of dollars. They dig these tunnels. They build multi-million-dollar trains. They engineer all of it. They make it safe. They make it efficient, and none of it matters because the person understanding how to use it is outrageously complicated and confusing. The payment is outrageously and complicated and confusing, and a missed stop is infuriating, right? So if you miss a stop, if you zoom past your stop on in a car, you literally turn around within a block and go right back, right? You miss a stop on public transit, you will never forget it, right? You'll get off at the wrong location, right? And then you will need to reboard the train, and you can't just walk 30 feet because that's where you need to be. You need to be literally on the other side of the platform, which is 30 feet away, but you're going to have to go up, go out. Can you even get in from that direction? Where is the entrance to that direction? Oh, now you need to use an app to even find where the entrance is. Forget it. You're done, right? And the last one is those three reasons alone lost trust. People have been burned too many times, and that doesn't even count strikes, right? Like, so if you have a car, if every public transit worker strikes, you don't care, right? Because you can get to work, right? But if you use public transit and they're like, you know what, we're going to use all your jobs to make sure that we get to keep our jobs with a few more nickels, right? And you're like, I could lose my job if I can't get there for a week, right? And and people are like, and public transit, that's okay. You guys are great leverage, right? Like, and so it's pretty astounding, right? So what really shocked me was the reason, like, this was a deep dive understanding of why public transit sucks and why nobody uses it, right? And it was extremely well done. Now, let's look at Dungeons and Dragons. What are the reasons people don't play Dungeons and Dragons? And here's the thing. After watching that video, I don't think we really know. Everybody has some opinions, but I don't think anyone who has really looked at it objectively, right? Hasbro's going to come in. They're bringing a whole bunch of, they're bringing a lot of bias. If I do it, I'm bringing a lot of bias. If you do it, you're bringing a lot of bias, right? And I think we just haven't had a good study of why. I will give you the reasons why I think people are not playing Dungeons and Dragons today. The 4 hour length, the standard 4 hour length is abysmal. It shuts down so many people. They're like, I don't want to do anything for 4 hours a week in a row, right? And so that's a number one, right? And then I also think the outrageous arbitrary complexity. I'm a level 7 wizard. That means I cast a level 30 spell. Absolutely no reason in the world for it. Hey, what's my bonus when I roll for strength? 18. Oh, so I get a plus 18? No, you get a plus 4. Right? Like it's endless. It is just on and on and on and on. Right? And it's endless, and it's frustrating, and it's useless, and it's bad. Right? So so arbitrary complexity. Thousands of pages of canon in every edition. Multiple editions, right? And edition haunt, right? Like, oh, if I go hard on this and I get 30 books, somebody's just going to come, they're just going to come along and make a new edition. Everything I have is worthless, right? Hello, Warhammer players, right? Warhammer 40K players, they're on their 10th edition in less time than D&D has had 5, right? So I think those are the reasons, but I'm smart enough to know, I think there's keys that are being turn, to make sure that people don't play that we don't know. And so I think we would need to really look at this very objectively and very carefully to determine what the actual problem is. And I think it would be really challenging. It would be challenging to determine. I think there are hidden reasons. Now, I gave you my 3. Arbitrary and complexity, time issues, and thousands of pages of canon. That's why I think people are not playing Dungeons and Dragons today. Oh, and I will say also, a very foolish, very ridiculous perception that it's for nerds. When the reality is the word nerd doesn't even have any meaning anymore. It's completely meaningless and useless. So I would say I would add that to the list as well. What do you think is the reasons, and more importantly, how could we get to the true reasons, right? Like, what kind of experiment could we run to actually determine why people don't play Dungeons and Dragons? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and definitely watch the video I linked. It's very good. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.